guys, it's Thomas here, and I decided to upgrade the light on my SPS build. I absolutely love my purple custom painted Aquatic Life 4-bulb T5 light, but I also love trying new technology, and I really love LEDs in general. I've used them on plenty of systems, so I decided to go more or less that route. That is, I'm getting LEDs. I got LEDs. They're here. For the videos, that's why. I saw it first on Reefbuilders. Jake Adams went to his friend Luis Rosa's house. Luis had a beautiful SPS-dominated tank. This light was on it, and it kind of sold it for me. It's a more obscure light. You don't really see this light fixture here in North America very often. Kind of few and far between. There are other brands that kind of dominate the scene here, but it was really intriguing, and I thought it kind of fit the bill. So without further ado, let's take a look at the Illumagic Blaze X 60. Let's get it unboxed first. Unboxing montage. Nice and quick. Here we go. So my first impressions, the fixture feels very well built. It's solid, it's heavy, it's got really good connectors on it as well. All the cords go together very easily. They look like waterproof connectors, which is pretty important considering we're dealing with a fixture over top of an aquarium and you could get splash here and there. I also really like the mounting arms for this unit. They are really slick, very well built, very well thought out. Unfortunately, I couldn't use them, but I'll get into that later. Thankfully, though, the fixture also came with a suspension kit, so a hanging kit like you would expect. The fact that it was included kind of saved me because the mounting arms are an add-on. The fixture also connects to the app very, very quickly, which I am super happy with because that just makes ease of use of actually setting it up. On the software side, very simple. The fixture is very bright and has a sort of 14K to maybe 20K look, similar to a radium metal halide, if you remember those from back in the day. And that's with all channels at 100%, and that's with a 150 watt power consumption. I would say it's a bright fixture. It looks like it's definitely putting out what I would expect for that kind of a power consumption, maybe even a little bit more. The light distribution in the aquarium from the fixture seems incredibly evenly spread out, which I was really happy to see. This is actually one of the things that kind of drew me to the fixture when I saw it on Luis Rosa's tank. It seemed very, very evenly spread out. This kind of prevents me from and this is one of the things that held me back actually from getting a different LED fixture, is having a hybrid fixture like the Aquatic Life Hybrid with an LED in it is very wide typically, and the tank would be completely covered by fixture. So I wanted something that would provide that kind of spread or something close to that without that kind of footprint over top of the tank. And this fixture seemed to fit the bill. And so far it appears to my eye anyways that that is the case. It looks very evenly spread, which I'm super happy about. The cooling fans, when the fixture is running, are really easy on the ears, which is important to me. Obviously, I don't want to hear this fixture just like humming away while I'm trying to enjoy the tank. So the system as a whole, I've designed it to be very quiet. The fans being quiet on the fixture, very important to me. I'm happy to report that they are not loud, which is a good thing. Also, this fixture carries a 2-year warranty, which is a little bit longer than some other companies offer on light fixtures. So I was really glad to see that. If you guys know me at all by now, you know that warranties mean a lot to me. Usually if a product has a really solid warranty, it's because the manufacturer stands behind that product and truly believes it will last at least that long or longer, and they're willing to back that up with said warranty. So I was really glad to see that. It was another huge selling feature for me, and one of the reasons that I was so attracted to the light. Alright, so now let's talk specs. Illumagic says their fixtures are rated for maximum efficiency, reducing heat waste and increasing par levels using a thick, double-layered fins-on-fins style heatsink paired with quiet but strong cooling fans. And ultimately, that should mean that my 2-foot Blaze X 60 should be making the absolute most of its 150 watt power draw. Okay, so let's talk color. Like I mentioned earlier, the fixture's got an overall really nice kind of radium halide blue look to it. It looks really, really nice. It's nice and bright. It's very heavily weighted in the blue side of the spectrum, and in fact, the fixture's total output has about 33% in the UV range, which is supposed to be very, very heavy. Illumagic feels that their fixture is probably the only one out there that actually has 33% of the diodes in that range, and they say they did it specifically for SPS, which is good because I want lots of SPS. It's one of the big reasons. It's because of SPS. Monty's. So specifically, here's the list of diodes that are in the Blaze X fixture. On channel C, we've got 400 nanometer near UV, 420 nanometer violet. Then on channel B, we've got 450 nanometer royal blue and 470 nanometer blue. And then finally, channel A is a mixture of 500 nanometer cyan and also includes 9,000 Kelvin whites and 660 nanometer reds. So the next thing I did to kind of get a really decent feel of how much light is actually pouring into that tank from the fixture, I got out my BTM 3000, which is the Biotech Marine USB PAR sensor, and I plugged it in and got some readings of various points over the rockwork and the floor of the aquarium, as well as just above the waterline and just below. So here's kind of the results I got from that. So I've got a really decent spread of PAR readings from around 150 on the low end in the corners of the tank, all the way up to about 270, with one hotspot near the center of the tank well over 300 PAR. Just above the water, I read over 600 PAR, and just under the surface of the water, around 500 PAR. This is with the included lenses, which you can remove, but I left them on and opted to keep the light further off the surface of the water. Speaking of the lenses, Illumagic says that their specialized lenses will never burn or discolor, even under the 33% UV that the fixture puts out, which is how they got away with having that really heavy 33% of the fixture's output in the UV range, which they say is something their competition can't do, which is super interesting. So I'm actually really happy with those numbers. It's more than enough light for most of the SPS that I plan to keep in this system. The surface is a little bit higher than what I typically aim for when keeping SPS or any coral really, but hopefully as those SPS slowly grow up towards the surface, they're able to adjust to that increased intensity, which is more than likely going to be the case. The spread of light is great. It really is quite an even blanket of light, and the PAR meter really helped showcase that and really kind of prove that. But I'm really happy. These are good numbers. Good test. Good test. So let's talk about the app, since it's what helps you make the fixture do the things you'd like it to do. So it's got to be good. It's pretty good. I dig it. So I've actually used a handful of different apps from different companies for scheduling lights and pumps and all kinds of stuff. I gotta say, in terms of lighting, this is probably one of the easiest and most straightforward apps that I've used. Some people may find it a little bit restrictive, but I would argue that keeping an app like this on rails, so to speak, and limiting the amount of extra features you don't necessarily need or extra things you could tweak, so to speak, leaving that out is more of a recipe for success. I think your average reefer, especially ones who haven't really worked with LED lighting before, it's all too easy to go into an app and change things around in a way that you think might be great or is visually appealing, but ultimately ends up making a really kind of suboptimal light spectrum or schedule for your corals. And I think what Illumagic has done by kind of grouping the LEDs into 3 categories that you can adjust the intensity on instead of having every single LED separate, and breaking the schedule up into set points that you can adjust, just makes it a lot easier to get it right the first time instead of having to play around with it a ton. You can kind of select how you'd like it to look visually and run with it, and you're more likely to get a positive outcome with this type of app. So the daily schedule is broken up into 5 set points. You can choose the time each point starts, the intensity of each of the 3 channels, and if you want a ramp or a hard on-off to the next point. You can also play with the channels and sliders individually in real time to see how it looks. The channels are basically divided into whites, blues, and UVs. Once you're all done with the schedule, you can preview it and see what it looks like transitioning throughout the day, and when you're finally satisfied, one click and it's uploaded to the fixture. So with their new app, they've actually got 3 presets now, one specialized for soft corals, one specialized for LPS corals, and one for SPS corals. So I'm going to be giving preset P3, which is for SPS, a shot on this system and see how it performs. I'm thinking it's going to do pretty good. I like the way the schedule looks. I didn't really feel like changing it. It's almost identical to what I was planning to do, so that's a good sign. So the app is easy as pie. However, the Wi-Fi signal on the fixture isn't super strong, so unless you're standing basically right around the aquarium, you're probably not going to pick it up on the app when you search for the fixture. I can be somewhere else in my home and I can't see the fixture in the app. I basically have to be right around it. Not a big deal because you're not really going to program the light from a different room. You're probably going to want to be sitting in front of the tank relatively close to it so you can see what you're doing and how it's affecting everything. Also, there are other fixtures and stuff out there on the market that you can program from basically anywhere in the world via the internet. I don't believe this fixture has that capability, at least not that I can tell. I really don't think that's a big deal, though. There's some very specific situations in where that might actually be useful for you, but I think the average reefer is not going to be programming their light fixture from abroad. They're going to be at home. With some other components on the tank, that makes a lot more sense to be able to have that kind of flexibility, but for a light fixture like this, I don't think it's a big deal. As you can see, I decided to hang the fixture using the suspension kit. I had intended to use the arms I got separately for the fixture, but I chose rear mounting, not realizing that my X Aqua in-out overflow would be directly in the way. Big fail on my part, which is really too bad because the arms are really nice, well designed. They look great. They both have vertical and horizontal adjustments that allow you to route the power cord through the mount so it's unseen. Sucks to be me, but I'm going to hang on to them just in case I ever decide I can use them, whether I change tanks. I hope I don't do that. But I really like them. The design is like on point, so we'll see. Maybe I'll use them in the future, hopefully. Overall, I think the look of the light on the suspension kit is pretty slick, and the gunmetal color of the fixture matches my gray theme pretty well. Could the fixture be slimmer? Maybe, but if it means less cooling efficiency and wasted power, I'd take a slightly thicker fixture over that any day. All right, so let's talk about the price tag. I think anybody looking at a strip format LED fixture is going to think that this price tag's probably quite high. I think that's likely because we're not used to seeing a fixture of this caliber in an actual strip format. We're used to seeing them more commonly in a pendant style format. I would say I'm pretty comfortable comparing this fixture to my all-time favorite and staple fixture that I usually go to for reef tanks, which is the Ecotech Marine XR30 Pro. Given that, especially that they're the same power consumption, one XR30 Pro and the 24-inch unit I've got, I think they're going to perform very similarly. Whether or not the Illumagic fixture is going to be as good or potentially better than a Radion, only time will tell, so we shall see how it performs as we get corals in that tank and as they grow. And that's really the only way to do it. It's a practical test. Well, that's it, everyone. The next time you see this tank, it will probably be in a video on the first inhabitants. As you can see, it's already full of water and it's cycling. I'm taking it nice and slow, fishless cycle, just adding food every day and letting it run for a few months. Nice and slow, taking it easy, you know? Why rush things? If you like what you see and maybe want to investigate or pick up a Illumagic Blaze X fixture for yourself, you can find them at Unique Corals, so check them out. I'll drop a link in the description below for you. And, you know, as always, subscribe if you like what you see here. I'd love to have you aboard, so hit that subscribe button. You can even tick the notifications bell so you know the second one of my videos comes out. I know they've been, you know, a little sparse, but I hope that just makes them all the more exciting when they do come out. And also, I'm planning to release them more often. We'll see how that goes. Thanks so much for watching. Take it easy. Have a good one. Keep on reefing and stuff. You know, outro tagline thing.